العقل تسامى بالفكر والوعي شعار للعمر بلدي نحكي ليحكينا يا كون اسمعنا واصطبري الرحب الفكر تسامينا وسمت في الأفق مساعينا بالعلم سترقى أمتنا ونجوب الدنيا داعينا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear grade 8 students, welcome to a new session of the English language presented to you by the English department at AL-andalus Educational Complex. Our topic today is about modal verbs. We're going to talk about must, have to, and need to. So kindly open your student books at Module 5C, page 65. And let's get started. Must and have to express necessity and obligation. We use must when the obligation comes from the speaker, while we use have to when the obligation doesn't come from the speaker. For example, a mom says to her son, "You must be home by 11 o'clock." And the boy says, "I'll leave. I have to be home by 11 o'clock." To put it in simple words, you can say that must is used to express inner obligation, while have to is used to express outer obligation. So, is there any difference between must and have to besides that? Well, they have more or less the same meaning, but have to is used for all the forms must doesn't have. Moreover, have to is used in the interrogative sentence. And here some examples. Do you have to go right now? And yesterday I had to do the washing because the washing machine broke down. Pay attention that we used had to in this sentence to express a past obligation. We don't have a past form from must to express obligation in the past, so we used had to. And if you want to be successful, you'll have to work very hard. Here we used have to. You cannot use must. You cannot say you will must work very hard. It's not right. So we use have to. Now to the negative forms. The negative from must is mustn't, and the negative from have to is don't, doesn't, and didn't have to. Mustn't is used to express prohibition, things you are not allowed to do, while don't have to is used to express lack of necessity, lack of obligation. You can say that you have a choice. And let's see the examples. You mustn't smoke in the premises means it's prohibited to smoke. It's not allowed to do so. And you don't have to wear a uniform at school. It's not necessary. Means it's your own choice. If you wear a uniform, it's acceptable. If you don't wear a uniform, it's totally up to you. Then we have to put in mind that there are some things that give the same meaning as don't have to, like don't need to and needn't. All of them give the same meaning, which is lack of necessity. Number one, she doesn't have to bring anything. There is lots of food. Two, she doesn't need to bring anything. There's lots of food. And three, she needn't bring anything. There is lots of food. All the three sentences have the same meaning. But you must pay attention to the fact that needn't is followed directly by the base form. It doesn't require to. It doesn't need to. It just followed by the infinitive, as you can see here in the sentence. And now, let's go to exercise A. Read the examples below and notice the words in blue, then answer the questions. Number 1. I must have to finish the project by Friday. Number 2. I need to speak to you now. 3. You mustn't use your phone during class. 4. We don't have to, don't need to, needn't take the bus to school. Dad will drive us. A. Which sentence expresses lack of obligation and necessity? As we said, lack of obligation, lack of necessity means that you have the choice to do what you want. And it's number 4, which is don't have to, don't need to, and needn't. Number B, which sentence expresses obligation? As you can already see, number 1 expresses obligation, things that you must do, you have to do. There is no escape of doing it because we have must and we have to. C, which sentence expresses necessity? Which sentence expresses necessity? We have number 2, which is I need to speak to you right now. This is a necessity, something necessary for you to do. And finally, of course, which sentence expresses prohibition? As we said, prohibition is the things you are not allowed to do, you are prohibited to do. And of course, it will be number 3. You mustn't use your mobile phone during class. It's against the rules. Let's move to exercise B. Read the examples again and complete the rules. As you can see, the sentence is formed like this. We have the subject, followed by the modal verb, and then comes the base form of the verb. To express necessity and obligation, we have, beside have to, we have must and need to. To express prohibition, we only have mustn't. And also to express lack of necessity, as we said before, we have 3 things to use. We have don't have to, we have don't need to, and we have needn't. And now to our final question. Exercise C. Circle the correct options. Number 1. You mustn't or don't have to forget to close the window before you leave. If you read the sentence carefully and you understand the meaning, the correct answer will be mustn't. You mustn't forget to close the window. Why? Because if you leave the window, if you left the window open, someone may get into the house, someone may steal something from the house. So here it's a prohibition. You mustn't forget. You are trying to warn him against forgetting to close the window. Number 2, you don't have to cook. We're having a dinner at Alice's house tonight. By simply looking, you can see that there's one option is completely excluded from the beginning, which is the second option, don't have, because it requires a to. It must have, don't have to. So immediately you can get the right answer, which is needn't. You needn't cook. As we said, because needn't doesn't require to. You can say simply, You needn't to cook. We're having dinner at Alice's house tonight. There is a choice, so we chose needn't. 3. You mustn't, you don't have to buy these comics. I'll lend you some of mine. Here we have mustn't and we have don't have to. The right answer, as you must already know, is you don't have to. Why? Because if we used mustn't, this means he cannot buy these comics. He is prohibited to buy these comics, which is not the case. He has the choice either to buy or not to buy these comics. And when we have the choice to do something, we use don't have to, or don't need to, or needn't. Now, it is don't have to. Then to number 4. Are your glasses new? B said, yes, I broke my old glasses, so I must buy new ones. If you can see clearly, if you look clearly, if you look carefully, you will find this is a clear, simple past sentence. It's a sentence in the past simple. We have the verb broke, so the correct answer will be a past obligation, which is had to. Finally, to number 5, I'm sorry, Mr. Parker isn't here. You must have to call again tomorrow. If you remember, in the beginning of this video, we clearly stated that we cannot use must after will. We cannot use 2 consecutive modals, so the correct answer is you'll have to call again tomorrow. And by this, we've come to the end of our session. Hopefully, you find it beneficial. Thank you for watching and see you other times. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.